This is the first in a short series of relatively brief videos which I'm calling Starting from Scratch, which is to explain how I put together the basics for modelling rolling stock for trains. And the one that I'm using here is one that I've been sent by Ian, and it's called the it's a luggage postal car for the US Northern Pacific, I think it is. And so this is what I was sent, and so this is my starting point. And the first thing I did is I took this image into a very simple photo program like Photoshop. In fact, I use PaintShop Pro, a very old one but still good. And I split this was the information that I needed to use. So there's 1, 2, 3 images. We've got a side view, a top-down view, and an end view, and that's basically what I've done. I've created 3 JPEGs, and so here's the top-down view, and luckily enough we've got dimensions already marked in, so that's going to be a big help. And although it doesn't include the corridor connection, that doesn't matter, you'll see why in a moment. But it gives us the overall length of the carriage or car and some of the dimensions for the openings for the doors. And the other one, and this is the side view, very straightforward, and we've got some dimensions which actually include the corridor. So this is the overall length that we're going to be using, 73 foot 10 inches. And just to complete the set, here's the end view. So those are the 3 that we need. Now if I was doing a model of a piece of rolling stock where there were no dimensions, but I had scale plans, plans without dimensions, or with just 1 or 2 minor dimensions, maybe the wheel radius, then I would print those out first, and then I would use a ruler and measure them and get the overall dimensions using whatever dimensions were available to scale up for the whole of the plan. Okay, so let's leave that. Let's go into Gmax, and the first thing I'm going to do here for this new project is I'm going to create 3 textures, but these are textures of the plans. So we'll call the first one, we'll call it side view. Sometimes I just capitalize this to keep it separate from others. Into maps, it's a diffuse color map, a bitmap, and you can see here I've been working on Samparai, and I will get back to that, but I've got a folder here called Ian, and it's in there, and it's set for bitmaps. So what we want is JPEG, and where are they? Here they are. So there's my 2. So this is the side view. So I'm not worrying about the actual size of the JPEG. It doesn't have to be set to a power of 2, as in 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, etc. For this you don't need that, because you're not going to export this to Trainz. So we'll have that, and there it is, look. And I'll just hide the maps in a moment, but you'll see there we've got, that's a diffuse color map. And now we want another one, and so this is map 2, material number 2, but we're actually going to call it top view. Nothing very complicated there, and it should just come up here, top. There we are. Now I'm not worrying about the sizes or anything of that yet, and we want another one which will be the end view. Very straightforward, and we just put that little end view JPEG, and I would advise you use JPEGs for this as opposed to PNG or anything else. The textures that you'll use will be TGA files, but we'll come to that later. Okay, so we have our 3. Now if we go back and have a look at our overall length, we're looking at 73 foot 10, and from rail height to the top of the roof is 13 foot 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plane. I'm not going to worry about the size of it yet. It's in meters at the moment, so we're going to change that to US standard. That's feet and decimal inches. I found to be the most useful, and it's way too big. Also, there's a lot of segments within it. We don't need those, so just reduce it to a single segment. And then for the overall length, we want, what was it again? There it is, 73 foot 10 and 13 foot 6. So this is pretty easy. So it's 13 foot 6 and 73 foot 10. Okay, and you can see there that obviously it's much more substantial. The zoom in, need to zoom into the correct size. I'm not worrying yet about positioning. So what I will do, 13 foot 6, so half 13 foot 6 is 6 foot, down here bottom right, 6 foot 9 inches. That means, because we're working from the midway point, the middle point of the plane, just making sure the pivot's right, and then we've got 73 foot 10, so 35, 36 foot 6, 36 foot 11. Well, actually we don't even need to do that, do we? We just zero it, take it over to the middle. There we are. There we are, it's jumped in. Okay, let's have a look at it in the perspective view. There it is. So that's our side. Here's our side view. I'm now going to texture it, select that and apply the texture. And there it is, that's our JPEG. This is just for the building process. It's not going to appear, you're not going to even leave this plane in when you finish the job. Okay, so here we are. Let's just make that a bit bigger. And here you can see a little red up here, little red points of the bounding box. So the first thing I want to do is to bring these in until they are on that arrow line. Okay, and the same over on the right hand side over here. Bring that in and position it carefully, and then do the same vertically, picking up the vertical ones only, top ones only, and bring it down and just about make out that white line look as it breaks into the black of the graphic. Now it's a very straightforward outline image. It's not a highly detailed plan, but it's adequate for what we need. And bring that up. So now we've got it on rail height, so we've just zoomed in on that. Now because the plane in Trainz behind here is that size, it is 73 foot 10 inches by 13 foot 6 inches, and we've zoomed in on the bit that should fill in there. If I close this, that's what we've got here. And let's just make sure we've got the correct texture. That just takes a little bit more memory, but it's well worth it. Just sharpens and straightens. Now it's not brilliant as far as a plan is concerned. The resolution isn't too great, but it's adequate for what we need, and that's the name of the game. And what I want to do here is, I'm moving it the wrong way as always. I want to push it back, because this is the XYZ 000 point, that's ground zero as it were. And the other thing I want to do is to alter the grid settings, because the home grid, because at the moment I'm going to take it down to a foot. There we are. And every 10 feet there's a larger grid, more prominent grid. The foot scale is the most useful. Okay, so now we know we've got the side. Let's just clone that. Hold down the shift key and just make another one. And let's put the top view onto that. Whoa, all over the place. So going back to our going back to our line here, we know that the top view is going to be from there, even though it says 71 foot 8 inches there. We know from the side view that from the corridor connections, which are beyond this measure, that we've got the correct length. But so it's the width that we want to do. So it's this bit down here. Here it is. So the top view is going to be, it's either going to be 10 foot or it's going to be 10 foot 6, depending if the top view includes those little bits sticking out, and it doesn't. So it should be just 10 foot. So those, whatever they are, rails or whatever sticking out, handrails or whatever. So 10 foot, because that is the width across there. See what I mean? Across there. Not worrying about the pixelation. So let's go back to the plane. We know 73 foot 10 is okay, but now we want the width, even though it says length there, don't worry about that. We want it to be 10 foot. So the plane is now the correct size, but of course the image inside that plane, on that plane, is incorrect. So we open this one up, and we're just going to correct this. Oops, let's see if we can see it all. Okay. So, first of all, let's have a look where we are. Well, we're all over the place on this one. So, first of all, let's bring that down to the side of the carriage. And look at those two there. The little red dots. And bring that up to there. And then we want to pick them up going sideways, just this end, and take it out to where we took the corridor. Now you'll see here that the line, the bounding line there, is inside that black bit, and that's because even though I rotated these individual sections, because this isn't square on the page, and that's often the case when you have to scan something in or you get it sent to you or something. They can be a bit crooked. So in the paint program I tried to straighten these up, each one up as much as I could, but within limits. You know, you don't want to get too caught up in that. That's fine. Okay, so that should now give us the top, and all we then need to do is to rotate it. And I'm sure I'm going to get the wrong, I'm sure it's meant to be on the x-axis. I can never remember which one is the correct one. No, it's not that one. Maybe it's the Z one. No, it's not that one either. Third time lucky. There we go. Rotate it, and I'm looking down to the bottom right here. In fact, I'm going to go back and do it again. I can't remember which one. Oh, I know what I should be doing. It's this one, isn't it? Angle snap toggle, that's it. There we go, it's going at 5-degree increments, and I wanted to turn that 90 degrees. That doesn't seem right, does it? Let's have a look. Oh, it's upside down, that's why. So let's turn it back from -90 to turning it back 180. Okay, and then we just want to position it correctly, so make sure first of all that the center point is at the center and it's aligned to the world, and then 0 0 0. That will take it, well, that's just the pivot, it's not doing any good, is it? 0 0 0. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, I've just moved the pivot. Look, it's over here. Idiot. Center to object, line to world. I didn't unclick the effect pivot only there, so it just moved the pivot, not the plane itself. There we are. Okay, so that gives us a top-down view of the carriage, and you're beginning to see where I'm going with this, because the next one I'm going to make is the end. At least I hope you are. So let's clone up this, and the end we know should be 13 foot 6. Let's just check the height of that one again. 13'6" high, and it just needs to be the width of that one there, 10 feet. There we are, that's all well jumped up. And let's put the end view, paste the end view on that, and just do what we did before. Now this might seem like a laborious activity. It is crucial, it's absolutely fundamental to getting a model correct in its size and shape. If you don't do this, you're basically modeling freehand, which, you know, fair enough, there are those who can do that, and I hope then that they are the correct size. Me, I can't do that. I need plans, and if I haven't got plans, then I've got to try and create plans in some way. There we are, look. So there's our end. So that's why I'm labouring the point here about getting this exactly right. Is it going to be a Z? Yes it is. So we turn that 90 degrees. Okay, now this one we don't necessarily want on the we want it on the XYZ line 0, 0, 0, but we don't necessarily want it in the middle because we want to be able to put this at the end. So let's move that over. I think that's the Y one, yeah, and well out of range of the vehicle. Now what you can do if you want is I think I can do it. Let's just go into end view. This particular one. I don't usually do this, but I'm just going to have a go to show you. Except I'm not showing you anything at the moment. I'm mapping coordinates, noise, bitmap. Output, I think it is, isn't it? Alright. No, there was something in there. It's definitely not time. Okay, so I'm just time wasting here. So what might be a good idea is for you to clone this one and to swing it around 180 degrees so that when you're model making there's always an end there. And if you want to do the same with this one, the only thing about this is the ends are usually bilaterally symmetrical. That is, if you chop them down the middle, each side is a mirror of the other. One half is a mirror of the other. On rolling stock that is very, very rarely the case. Very rare. I've never come across it on on the stuff I've done. There's always differences. So if you want to have this on the other side over here as well, so whichever way you're looking at it, you've got the image there to work from, and that can be quite handy. Well, you don't want to do it like that. You want to do it like this, I think. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to swing it round, and then I'm going to reverse the, well, I'll reverse the image first. Where are we? So I'm going to select all of the points, the 4 points there, and I'm going to reverse it, flip it, mirror it, and you can see there is a difference. There's a difference certainly in this, I think, in the size of those doors, and those were handles, by the way. You can see them marked there. And now, because I've flipped it round, I can rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, so what does that give us? Well, this is starting from scratch, part 1, and this is where we want to be at the end of part 1. We want to have, don't need to have that selected, we want to have all of the details that we'll need for making our model, and that's what these 3 JPEGs will give us. There's enough information there to make our model. Now I'm only going to talk about the body of the carriage. I'm not going to talk about making the bogies. That's a separate issue. So this is where you need to be at the end of part 1 of starting from scratch. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been of use. For those of you who are new to Gmax or who are making their first pieces of rolling stock, I do very much urge you to have a go. It's very satisfying indeed, and I'm hoping this video will help you to do that. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, please leave a pleasant comment, always very welcome indeed, and watch out for part 2, where I will start making up the basic mesh that will form the carriage, explain how I go through that. In fact, the basic meshes, this will be in the plural, and there's a number of things to consider before doing that, and I'll go through that in my next video, which I guess will be in a week or so.